and welcome to another live stream where we are talking to someone who is going to provide some incredible expertise. She's got such diverse knowledge and experience, particularly in the area of Pilates and helping us to manage our stress, especially for those of us who are over 50 as well, helping us navigate, osteoporosis and making sure that we are in the best physical shape, because as I've always said, and I know other people have said as well over the years, that when it comes to our business, our greatest asset is ourselves. And if we're not looking after ourselves, and if something happens, for many of us, if we're solopreneurs or we've got a small team that we are overseeing, if we're taken out, our business often stops as well. So welcome, Lynda.
Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. I'm so happy to be here.
Look, I have added your bio and a little bit about you on the comments, but for those of you who are joining us live over on Instagram, you don't have that. So let me just read her bio. Now, for over 30 years, her clients have included people such as Donna Karan, Laurie Anderson, and Joe Walsh. They've trusted her to help them get stronger and function better with less pain. In fact, former Financial Times traveler editor Rahul Jacob says that she is the best Pilates teacher and personal trainer that he's ever worked with. Amazing. Now, a former philosophy and women's studies professor, you've also owned an award-winning 6- and 7-figure Pilates studio. You've taught overseas at an A-list private island resort and have trained hundreds of Pilates teachers. And currently, you own Lynda Lippin Pilates LLC, where you help women who are over 50 with osteoporosis increase your bone density or their bone density and eliminate chronic pain through online Strong Bones program. This is your program and online private sessions. Amazing. So, you've got such a diverse experience and knowledge, obviously, in that area. For those who love to find the backstory, I always love the context. What was it about this that attracted you to the industry?
Well, I had always done, ballet as a kid. I really loved it, went on point, kind of did that whole thing. And then I had pretty much kind of stopped, exercising and really thinking about that until I got to college. My back started to hurt. I wasn't feeling so great. I was really busy. I was in student government. I was in student government on national, state, and local campus levels, doing a lot of organizing, trying to go to grad school. And I started going to take Pilates, and Pilates was offered at a great discount to students because our student activity fees were helping to fund the Pilates studio at that time in the 80s, when not, a lot of like non-finance stuff was getting funded. So I started doing it and loved it. Just loved it. It made me feel better. I loved the equipment. I loved the classes. I just had a really good time. And then I went to Philadelphia to go to graduate school for my PhD in philosophy. And while I was there in the PhD program, there was an ad in the local newspaper for part-time exercise instructors wanted, Pilates background preferred. And I thought, wouldn't that be nice to have just a job that has nothing to do with philosophy or academia or, or grading papers. And that's when I started to teach. And then I kind of, apprenticed, got my certification, and just kind of kept going from there. And I was, lucky enough to have clients who really wanted to back a studio, people who had been in back pain for like their entire lives and were suddenly able to travel and feel better. In fact, my original partner was going back and forth to Australia. That's when he discovered Pilates, because that amount of travel on a plane on your back is just not pretty. Yeah. And so, we opened our studios, then I left that partnership, opened my own, fully my own studios. And then we ultimately moved to the Caribbean. So literally had job offers, looked at each other and said, why not? And in a uncharacteristic move, we sold everything and moved to the Turks and Caicos. where we spent 6 years living in a Corona commercial and learning, however, working at an A-list private island resort 6 days a week, 60-hour-a-week contracts, and learning how to serve at an extraordinarily high level, because we were on the island with the Tony Blairs of the world and the Donna Karans of the world and the, you know, Emirate kings and queens and princesses. And we, you know, I got to watch what, you know, when you think to yourself, what kind of service level does somebody spending $20,000 a night on a room want?
Wow.
Right?
You could tell some stories, I am sure, but I'm sure you'll
and I'm sure I have a little bit of an NDA as well.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I realized, and this was a couple of months ago, I mean, I have had certain, you know, weeks and months where my back's niggling, and sitting down for long periods of time, as many of us have found over the last 18 months or so, we've done more of, because many of us have been isolating at home, lockdowns and all of that. And so for things that we have done, and in instances not done, I'm sure, it hasn't provided the great environment for our backs. And then, in fact, you and I are as part of a networking group, and a number of months ago, I had to cancel. I couldn't attend the meeting because I had my back, and I was laid. I could not move, and it was the most debilitating ever. And it was that time I thought, my goodness, I cannot even get up to go to the loo. You know, that was a mission in of itself. I had to I mean, you know, the things that we do to get around. But it led me to really want to have this conversation with you, because I'm sure there's things that we can be doing now that will enable us to prevent, I mean, back pain. I mean, things that I'm sure that are doing and not doing, that's not providing us the best of care. And as we're starting to get older and put more stress on our back, I'm sure you're seeing too with your clients, more injuries occurring. So
Definitely.
let's jump in and share, what are some of the things that you want to share with us right off the bat, Lynda? What are the things that we're doing and not doing that's not supporting us when it comes to back care?
So one of the, I mean, you know, there's so much that we could do that we generally don't do, which is kind of interesting. But I view, so here's my view on exercise, because I am probably, you know, if you look at my academic background in philosophy, I'm probably one of the least likely exercise instructors you're going to think about, right? Because we don't necessarily put those things together. However, I will remind the academics in the room that Plato's Socrates talks often about the fact that we cannot effectively use our minds if our bodies are falling apart and we're sick or in pain all the time. And that's why the Greeks found it, you know, so important to have the gymnasium as well as the school, so that you had your brain study, but you also got the physical work in, so that you were able to kind of keep going and not be, you know, just sidelined and unable to write or talk or be out. So I really view exercises as maintenance. And I view exercise as something that can be hard, and probably should be hard, because it's there to make everything else we do easier. And I basically said to myself, 5 days a week, 30 to 40 minutes. Like, can I do that? Just to the maintenance of myself. Because quite frankly, Anne-Marie, and Joseph Pilates pointed this out a lot, he said, you know something? You know how many clients cancel because their cars need service? And that was before the days of, you know, them picking you up and dropping you off. Those were the days when everyone had to, like, you know, schedule the garage, physically go, hang out, unless you had a driver or somebody else, you know, and do that. So that was, you know, you take off from work, you take off from school, you cancel appointments so that you can get your car serviced because you need your car. But he always said, why don't we treat our bodies like we treat those things, right? We deal with our appliances so that they don't break, so that we don't have to replace them early or deal with service. But we don't seem to look at our bodies in that way. And our bodies are really useful to us. Just
Oh,
for
yeah.
basic things like getting up and down and, getting to the bathroom, if nothing else, right? And there are really basic movements that our bodies need to do. And those movements are things like sitting and standing, like moving our arms around and pushing and pulling things, right? And learning how to bend over and stand up.
Yes.
And really, at the end of the day, what we're looking at, and this is documented science, that they can basically trace how long you're going to live by your ability to get up and down from the floor with a minimum of effort.
Wow.
Yes. And so that's where we need to think about how, could we do that?
Yeah. The
If
good
we
news, though,
fall, can we get up?
Yeah, I'd love you to share this too, because just like when someone is thinking of making a change, and hopefully after today's conversation, we will have empowered people to think differently and to start to make that change. It's never too late to change, no matter what age you're at. That's one of the beautiful things about the human body. As you continue to develop and grow, you will see aspects of your strengths return. And so forth. Share a little bit more about that for those people that are saying, yeah, but Lynda, I am such and such an age and I do already struggle to get up. What hope is there for me? Speak a bit more.
My oldest client ever came into the studio. I think she was 93 when she started with me. And she was a fellow member of the Cosmopolitan Club, which is like the oldest private women's club in the United States. Started around the time of the Union League. And I was a member there, and Vera was a fellow member, and I had done a presentation at one of our club luncheons for about Pilates and back pain. And so Vera started coming in to see me. She bought her first pair of pants in her life to do Pilates with me in the studio. She was so adorable with her cane and her little pumps. I mean, such a lady, of a particular era. But Vera felt better. And Vera started out at once a week, and then she came in twice a week, and then she was able to do some walking without her cane, and she was able to sit and stand better, and she could get in and out of like a cab better, or an SUV if she needed to. She was able to travel a little bit, which she had kind of stopped doing, and we kind of, kept that going until, as happens, Vera passed. But, that time was so great for her because she was able to do more, enjoy more, and be in less pain, for those years. And I was really happy to be able to give that to her. And, I started doing Pilates because I was in pain. And frankly, when I'm in pain, Pilates is about the only thing I want to do or can do that helps me, right? I mean, I've got, some chronic pain disorders. I have some autoimmune diseases, and I have, quite a bit of actual like daily pain. And for me, it's about getting the most bang for my buck, of having the most function in my body and the most use of my body with the least amount of pain possible. And am I ever totally pain-free? Probably not, really. But am I at a level that I can deal with without, huge amounts of medication and feeling the need to go to physical therapy? Yes. So I take that as a win.
Like if you weren't doing Pilates, you would not even want to consider.
I seriously think I'd be walking with a cane at this point, or I would have had some kind of back surgery at this point. Really. I mean, I'm not joking. I'm not messing around. Like, I really, without the conditioning, because, Anne-Marie, that I've had shingles for the past, I'm on week 4 now. And so I didn't really exercise. I mean, I couldn't even do a dog walk for like 2 weeks. And the way, I started to crave the exercise, but not just for movement, but because I was literally in pain. And I exercised this morning, took it slow, did some gentle Pilates for like about half an hour for the first time. And today my back doesn't hurt, right? I mean, I see direct causal relationships between my working out and my pain levels and my levels of function. And then, and that bleeds into everything. It makes it easier for me to get my work done and be with my clients. It makes it nicer for me to be with my husband. It makes me happier to do anything. So that's really what we need to start to think about. And it can be as basic. I take some of my clients at the beginning because, I teach everybody online now. I don't go into a Pilates studio at all. So my clients are now doing all of their work with me virtually. And a lot of times we just start with them sitting in a chair, a non-rolling chair, of course. I always say that because I'm like just picturing somebody trying to do exercises on an unstable rolling chair. And I have them start just by sitting down and standing up. Seriously, by just pulling their stomachs in, keeping their spine straight and their chest lifted, and just literally sitting down and standing up. Can you keep the weight in your feet and the weight in your heels and just sit and stand? And maybe do it 10 times. And then maybe a few minutes later, do it another 10 times. Or maybe every time you get up to the bathroom, you sit and stand a few times, and then you go, and then you come back. Or you go to the kitchen, you do your thing, you come back. Because sitting and standing, A, is a basic movement, but B, it's a squat.
True.
Right? So you may be like, I don't do squats. Like, squats are not my thing. I've heard that a lot in my life. And I'm always like, do you like to be able to sit down on chairs and stand up again? Because that's really what a squat is.
It's like, do you never go to the loo? But look,
right, exactly. But look what we do, Anne-Marie. No, look what we do. We get taller toilet seats as we get older, which makes it actually harder to move our bowels, frankly, because like knee to chest is a good position to move your bowels. That's why they make all those, potty stool things for the bathroom. So the higher your toilet seat goes, the harder it is to actually move your bowels, okay? But secondly, it makes it so that you're not moving as much to sit and stand. Wow. So that's what we do. We just go, okay, so I can't do that anymore, so I won't. So I'm going to change this. And then basically they've documented that the only way, other than injections and other things, to increase collagen in our joints is to use the joints and use the joints in a weight-bearing way. And is it going to feel creaky and stiff at the beginning? It is. And might you need to have a pillow or some, books? I used to say phone books, but that's not a thing anymore. Piled up on your seat because maybe you can't get down and up with your back straight and the knees working well and all of that. Yes, you might. But I can promise you that the more you do it, just like when we oil a joint on a door, and maybe it takes a little while for the oil or the WD-40 to work its way through and it to become truly squeak free, but it happens, right? It does happen sooner or later. And it happens for us as well, the more that we do movements. So I always look at like really basic movements. I'm like, sit down and stand up a few times. That's always a good one. Keep your back straight, bend your knees a little, and bend over and pretend you're picking something up off the floor, or pick something up off the floor. In fact, a book, a weight, your pet, a bag of dog food, whatever, and do that a few times. And that's the lifting up of something with the back straight, which in a weight room would be called a deadlift. And many, and then I talk to people who are like, I don't do deadlifts and I've never done a deadlift in my life. And I'm always like, well, have you ever bent over with your back straight, bent your knees a little and picked something up off the ground without bending your whole back? Yes, I have. Guess what? That's a deadlift. So for me, it's a lot of basics. It's just a lot of basics. Standing up and just lifting a knee into your chest and just doing that a few times like you're marching. And you may think that's silly, that's ridiculous, but it's not. You're using your abdominal muscles and your hip flexors to lift your knees up, which is a big part of walking. And it's a big part of going upstairs. And it's a big part of walking up and down hills, right? That you need the ankle flexibility, you need the knee flexibility, you need the hip flexibility. Hold on to a wall or a back of a chair and lift and lower your heels, keeping your back straight, and get some movement again in those joints. And if we do that, regularly, our bodies like that.
Yeah.
Our bodies are made to be
No.
moved.
Yeah, I'd say every day. Here's why. It's, as you're sharing that, Lynda, one of the things that often I will think about, you say it seems really simple exercises. However, it's not till you have an injury or you're unable to do that you realize even the smallest of movements are so painful when you have that injury. And then you realize, oh my goodness, if only I could stand and not have that pain. And, as you're starting to share this, I'd imagine that, and that beautiful client you mentioned, it was 93 when she started. Did it happen overnight? No, it didn't. But it sequentially, through that, sequence of doing that regularly, she was able to build on that. And it's the earlier you start, the sooner you'll find that the muscles start to get strength. You start to be able to bend those joints. One of the areas that I find that is a real struggle for me is because I'm not a very patient person. So for me, stretching, even as a youngster, I would go to, I'm showing my age, jazzercise classes and all of those when I was younger. And at the end, they said, let's stretch. And I'm like, yeah, let's not. And off I'd go. But now, my muscles are so tight, and we've been in lockdown. I haven't been able to see my masseuse, and even the walking, I can set even my legs are tight, and they need stretching. And when I do stretch, and I do that daily, I notice a huge difference in the way that I'm walking because the pain's not there. That's when you notice, oh, actually, I can't feel that pain.
Exactly. And it's it's a very interesting thing, because you would think that we would remember that. But literally what happens is the pain goes away. We're like, oh, we're awesome now. We just don't do it anymore. And then the pain comes back, and then we're like, oh, right. So what I recommend doing is, even if you start at 10 or 15 minutes a day, which is perfectly appropriate. And I actually have online, and I'm going to send you the links to this. We can put it in the comments, or I'll put it in the comments as well. I actually have 2 free series on YouTube, one that deals with lower back pain and one that deals with neck and shoulder pain. Okay. And these are kind of pre-Pilates series, where really all you need is just a mat and a place to lie down, not tons of space, but just kind of small, effective exercises that if you do them, 5 days a week, you're going to start to feel better, and then be able to do more things. But it's really, scheduling it in, knowing that you're going to do it. For the last 3 weeks, I've gotten up in my mornings and just had my morning without the half an hour of exercise. This morning, I got up and knew that I was taking half an hour to exercise. And I do that now Monday through Thursday. I take Friday off. I do it Saturday. I take Sunday off. So I get 2 days a week off. Well, I'm still doing dog walks and whatever else. But literally, if I don't have the exercise in, I don't feel good. And I don't have then the energy to do everything else, because that's what our bodies need. Exercise is also like gasoline for us, in a car. It's helping to fuel us and helps us even to use the nutrition that we eat better. Exercise has a huge, there's no downsides to exercise, basically, unless you're, deciding to go completely off the wall and go from nothing to everything. And then you've got a good chance of hurting yourself. I'm telling you right now, you just do. But, if you take it slow, there's literally no downsides. Exercise helps our joints feel better. It helps with arthritis. It helps our backs feel better. It helps strengthen our core abdominal muscles. It helps us breathe better. It lowers our blood pressure. It lowers our cholesterol. There's nothing about it that's bad. But somehow, I know here in the US, a lot of it for us as kids was growing up and having to be in, gym class in school, which for me was horrible. I was never a tiny person. I was not a jock. I was of the more intellectual, reading people. I was of the nerdy people. I was always the last picked for dodgeball, and I hated it. And that literally made me grow up loving ballet, because I loved ballet, and they accepted me, and worked with me no matter how I showed up. and yoga, because I hadn't yet discovered Pilates. But other than that, those gym classes in junior high and high school made me basically hate athletics. I don't like team sports. I had like nothing to do with it. I don't like to run. Anything they made me do. Now, I have made my peace with burpees and squat thrusts and jumping jacks, things that I do on the fitness side, because I choose to do them now with other people in short bursts and of an intensity and duration of my choice. I don't have to do it in a gym filled with other sweaty people in shorts that I don't want to wear and a penny.
Lynda, is we can attend exercise classes. In fact, when we went into our first lockdown, this would back in 2020, had to think, what year are we in? My daughter did hers then all online and Zoom, and I think I attended almost every one. Now not so much, but because she's not on Zoom, but the thought of actually going out, we're in lockdown anyway, number 5 here in Melbourne, so but you can attend those classes, as you've said, and I know you're going to share the link. Do you want to just say what the link is for those people who may be watching the live?
If you just go to YouTube and go to Lynda Lippin Pilates on YouTube, and there is actually a playlist for back pain and neck pain. Yeah. And there's 2 specific videos in there that are pre-Pilates exercises to eliminate back pain and pre-Pilates exercises for neck and shoulder pain.
We're getting after our interview here. So we've got Claire Kumar. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, Claire. It is so,
very fit. Didn't like high school gym class.
Right. So it's like, you know, for a lot of us, we have to get over that. I mean, for some of us, you know, just depending on what your childhood was like. I mean, my childhood was kind of PTSD inducing at the best of times with my family, let alone school and all that. You know, those things that are reminiscent of gym class bring that back to me. In fact, I cannot take exercise classes with exercise instructors who are mean. Like there are a host of exercise instructors out there who, if you watch their videos, and their clients like that, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, they yell at you if you show up late in class, if you're in the front row and you're not doing things right, they yell at you. Like it's a thing. And some women really like that. And some people really like that. I walk out of that.
Oh yeah, they'd have a
that just makes me, I can't, right? So, you know, I also say that if I don't care if you're going into a gym situation or if you're working out on your own at home, which is what I prefer doing at this point, make sure that the teacher or the trainer you're with is somebody you like, somebody you trust, you know, somebody who has like certifications and, you know, can answer questions, and is somebody who you feel is supporting you and is being supportive of where you're going and your choices. Because there's a lot of trainers that kind of push you into it's their way or the highway. So you're keto or you're low fat or you're only eating 2 hours a day on some crazy intermittent fasting schedule. And suddenly you're not losing weight because your body thinks you're starving and you're completely stressed out and your cortisol's all over the place. That's not going to be helpful. That's not my style of training, as you may, you know, be able to tell, because that's not a style of training I can tolerate.
And you know, myself. I think as you get older, and I know that one of the areas you love to work with, or people you love to work with, is women over 50. We're at a stage where, you know, well, I know for me, I'm thinking of the future. I want to make sure that I'm looking after myself so that in my 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s, God willing, if I live that long, I'm not restricted because I can't, you know, because of pain.
Right. And that, you know, that for me has always been like a carrot in a way that I've been able to hold out for a lot of my clients is, don't you want to be able to go visit your grandkids at camp and like play basketball and like do the camp tour without, you know, worrying that you're not going to be able to walk it? Would you like to be able to pick that baby up and, sit down and stand up. I mean, you know what it's like when you're dealing with small children. There's a lot of sitting down and standing up that has to happen. And, do you want to be able to play with them? Do you want to be able to go on the beach with them? Or there's all these things that we can do if we're consistently working just to maintain our bodies and our bodies, ability to move and ability to function well. And, the more that we do that, the better. And for folks who are in serious joint pain or really feeling the hip or really feeling the knee, and if you haven't gotten it checked out, I encourage you to do it, because sometimes it really is like arthritis or something where you need an injection or you need a joint dealt with, or there's an intervention that they can do on that Western medical side. And if you need a hip replacement, you need a hip replacement. You can try to talk yourself out of it. You can put it off for several years. You can be in severe pain. You can try to do Pilates and kind of keep yourself as strong as you can through it. But ultimately, you're going to get that joint replaced, period. That's not a sign of weakness. That's not a sign that you did something wrong. People's bodies are people's bodies, and they need different things. So, but know that if you're exercising and doing things, you're going to go into that surgery and out of that surgery much better off.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be able to get up and do things faster instead of waiting until some nebulous day and then suddenly needing surgery and possibly not being strong enough to rehab after it. Yeah. I mean, like falling and breaking your hip here in the United States is one of the biggest causes of death in seniors.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's, and I don't, it's not that I like to bring out kind of the morbid, but we do all need to kind of face the fact, face reality that staying strong and staying mobile and staying functional is super important for us, for our families, for our businesses, for our clients, for our customers, for our employees, for our staff. Like if there are people relying on you, then you need to be there for them. I view it as kind of part of the work. I feel like that should be scheduled in the work we do on our business.
Yes.
Not in our business, but on our business. So if we're serious about being entrepreneurs, part of the work of working on our businesses, which are hinging on us, is taking care of us.
Yeah. As a CEO, yet often, many of us do have teams, small teams, or even larger teams. If we're not the best, we're not able to support the team. And what example are we setting? As leaders, we are influencing, and we influence through our behavior and example. And it's important. Lynda, I've loved today's conversation. How do people get in contact? Share again is the best place to go to LinkedIn and to find videos?
Yes, actually, I am on all social media. I am on all social media as my name, Lynda Lippin or Lynda Lippin Pilates. So realistically, you can, I check my Instagram messages, I check my Facebook messages off of either my page or my profile. I'm on LinkedIn daily as well. You can message me on LinkedIn. My website is lyndalippin.com, spelled just like my name. and again, the free YouTube videos for neck pain and back pain are on YouTube under Lynda Lippin Pilates channel.
Yeah, terrific. And yes, we are live streaming across all of those platforms. So no doubt Lynda has shown up across here. So connect with her, but certainly head over to her YouTube channel and watch those videos. A great place to start. And let's commit to standing up and sitting down. I could do that.
Yes.
At least 10 times today. And I'll be doing some more stretching because I know I need to do stretching too. So that's good. Well, thank you so much, Lynda, for sharing. It's so important. When is the best time to start? Well, would have been last year or many years ago, but the second best is right now. Right now. And on that, we will say goodbye. All the best. Thanks again, Lynda.
Thank you.